Now I think we can all agree that Rapi is one of, if not the Nikke closest to the commander. After all, her bond with him is probably only second to, if not equal to Marian's. And I say this because just like Marian, Rapi is shown to have an unbreakable trust and loyalty towards the commander, as she always trusted his judgment and followed his orders even when they seemed absurd or sometimes almost impossible to accomplish. Like fighting the blacksmith in chapter 1 to save Marian.
What do you want us to do?
Do you have to ask? Let's just get out of here!
Your orders, please. Yes, Commander.
Are you out of your mind? We're gonna die!
To fighting and even resurrecting heretics in the recent chapters. And I also want to talk about that one time in Rapunzel's Bond story, where Rapunzel borrowed the commander's phone and ordered Rapi to send photos of everybody's underwear. To which Rapi replied... And of course, we can't forget that Rapi is very overprotective of the commander, as she is always the first person to jump to his rescue whenever he is in danger. In fact, the only times Rapi activated Reddit's core is whenever the commander is in grave danger. Like when Chatterbox was about to abduct him in chapter 4, or when he got stabbed by Moderna's tentacle in chapter 13. And since using Reddit's core puts Rapi at risk of losing her memories or even melting her own brain, I highly doubt that she'd do the same for any other commander. After all, if that were the case, then the commander that we replaced in chapter 1 would still be alive to this day. And all of this shows us just how special the commander is to Rapi. So the question is, what's the reason behind Rapi's trust, loyalty, and overprotectiveness towards the commander? Well, the answer was actually hinted to us in this quick exchange between Rapi and Anise in chapter 1.
Have you found it?
I don't know yet.
Now, it should be noted that in the Famitsu interview for the game's 1.5th anniversary, the developers were asked about what Rapi found in this chapter, and they replied by saying that it's going to be revealed in a future event involving Rapi. And as promised, the answer was revealed to us in the conversation between Rapi and Anise in the hard mode ending of the Footstep Walk and Run event, where it was revealed that Rapi told Anise that she is searching for a person who can lead her, and that it has to be someone who won't bend or break. So what Rapi found in chapter 1 is the commander. And she pretty much confirmed this in chapter 34, where she talked about what she felt when she met the commander.
In my aimless wandering that followed, I met the commander. Those piercing eyes, that determined gait. You were remarkable. I thought if I aligned myself with you, if I saw the same things you did and walked the same path as you, maybe, just maybe, something would fill the emptiness within me. Something. Anything. I felt an overriding desire to protect you, because you shone a light into the darkness. Like a ray of hope sent to me when I was about to give up everything. I had to protect you with all my might.
So this is the reason why Rapi always followed the commander's orders, as well as why she's very overprotective of him in the early parts of the story. But as she spent more time with him, Rapi's feelings for the commander grew into something more.
So right now, I'm borrowing Rapi's body, yes? Every time you come close to me, how do I put this? It feels like I'm simultaneously at ease and not. Is that all? I'm thinking this might be something that happens between a man and a woman, if you catch my drift. For your silence, I assume there's a connection there? Well, well. How dense can you be? It's love, you moron. Love.
Now of course, when Anise asked Rapi in chapter 1, Rapi still wasn't sure if the commander is really the person she's looking for. So let's talk about what might have convinced her that the commander is indeed the one. Now, back in chapter 1, after confirming that Marian's corruption already spread to her brain, Shipley told us that it's the commander's duty to execute Nikke's who sustained brain damage. Now, Anise sensed the commander's hesitation, and so she tried to volunteer herself to do it. However, Rapi cut her up, stating that Nikkes can't execute their own kind. But that's not really true, because while it's true that the name prevents Nikkes from harming other Nikkes, that rule doesn't apply to corrupted ones. Because not only did we see Dorothy do it in Overzone, but it was even revealed in the Footstep Walk and Run event that Rapi herself was forced to take the lives of many corrupted Nikkes throughout her many years of fighting on the surface. In fact, she's done it so many times that she already lost count of how many corrupted Nikkes she's put to rest. So Rapi of all people should know that they can execute corrupted Nikkes. And even if the rules were changed, Commanders has the authority to turn off the inhibitors that prevents Nikkes from harming other Nikkes, so there's no reason why we can't order Anise to do it. So the question is, if Rapi knew all this, then why did she insist that the commander must be the one to do it? Well, it's possible that Rapi saw this as an opportunity to test the commander. She wanted to see if he's strong enough to carry out this duty, or if he's going to bend and break. But something unexpected happened, because as the commander was about to lower his weapon, Marian somehow managed to take back control of her body and reached for the commander's gun.
Over here, Commander. Commander. Thank you for your bandage.
Now, we can clearly see in the cutscene that Rapi was shocked when she saw Marian do this, and understandably so, because Rapi knew from decades worth of experience that no Nikke is immune to corruption. In fact, the only other time she saw someone maintain control of their body after being corrupted is in Red Hood's case. But not even Red Hood was able to maintain this control once her corruption reached its final stage. But that's exactly what Marian did, and she did it to protect the commander. Because Marian knew that the commander can't pull the trigger. He's a kind and gentle person after all. And knowing what we know now, forcing him to execute Marian may actually end up breaking him. Because in chapter 24, Crow came to the conclusion that the only way to break the commander is by forcing him to take a Nikke's life using his own hands. So by pulling the trigger herself, Marian basically prevented the bad ending from happening. Now, in case you're not convinced that Marian's bond with the commander is what enabled her to resist corruption, just remember that Marian did the same thing when she's already a heretic. And all it took for it to happen is for the commander to call out her name.
Marian? Marian. Amazing. No wonder it's got this familiar ring to it. Marian. 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 I'm Marian from Squad Silvergun. Pleasure working with you.
And remember, Cinderella tried doing the same thing in part 1 of the Old Tales event while all of her friends were calling out to her. But despite her best efforts, Cinderella failed. And so she was forced to watch as Anichiro tore her friends apart using her own two hands. So this shows us just how strong Marian's bond with the commander really is, because not even corruption was able to stop her from protecting him. That's why I believe that Marian's actions in chapter 1 is what convinced Rapi that the commander is the person she's looking for. Because even though the commander was unable to pull the trigger, there's something about him that made it possible for Marian to do what should have been impossible. And this may have given Rapi hope that if she's with him, then maybe she too will be able to do what she believed was impossible for her. That she will finally become complete. That she will become Red Hood.